Being what is easily one of the most popular power sets in all of Shonen, the Devil Fruit has been the cause for some of the most badass abilities fans have ever seen. From Law's Ope Ope no Mi to Kizaru's Pika Pika no Mi, most fans know how absolutely iconic these fruits are. However, some of the most prevalent and powerful characters in all of One Piece don't actually rely on this power set. In this video, I will be ranking the top 10 most powerful non-Devil Fruit characters. This list won't include characters who we know nothing about, as well as characters who may have Devil Fruits, such as Kong, Emu, Roxy Zebek, Dragon, as well as most of Shanks, Rogers, and Blackbeard's crews. Spoiler warning ahead, as this video will contain information from the most recent chapters of One Piece. As a side note, holy shit, we reached 200 subs. Thank you so much for all the support that I've gotten for these last couple of videos, and let me see any other videos, One Piece videos you'd like to see. Additionally, if you like the video, make sure to leave a like, and if you really like me, subscribe as well. I'm also on these social media pages, so follow me there if you want. Also, should I start streaming? I kinda wanted to play through Part Warriors 4, so let me know if you want to see that as well. And with that, let's get to it. Number 10 goes to who is probably my second favorite One Piece character after Law, and that's the cook of the Straw Hat Pirates, Blackleg Sanji. Now, Sanji in Wano definitely got a bunch of important buffs, from his admittedly badass raid suit, to his awakening of his German enhancements, to his most important power-up in some time, being the Blue Flame Ifrit Jambe. It's clear Sanji has reached the level of at least a second-tier Yonko commander, although I'd argue he's reaching the level of even King and Katakuri at this point. I can't explain how happy I am that after a pretty piss-poor showing combat-wise since the time skip, Sanji has finally been given some much-needed attention, and his displayed abilities should not be understated. The reason I have Sanji above characters such as Kyoshiro, Ashura Doji, the Mink Leaders, Jinbei, as well as Killer should be relatively simple. His feats are just above them in my opinion, as besides debatably Killer, it's hard to argue any of these characters being able to stand up to the likes of King. However, I could 100% think Sanji could, given his ease of beating Queen. With that, I'm just happy seeing Sanji make a list like this, and I think he absolutely deserves a number 10 spot. And number 9 goes to the rival of Sanji, the vice captain of the Straw Hat Pirates, pirate hunter Roronoa Zorro. Now, I've talked about Zorro on this channel extensively, as I just think he's been absolutely insane ever since the time skip. Unlike Sanji, he's had a multitude of opportunities to show his skill, from Horty Jones to Pika to Hawkins to Killer to his amazing fight against King. It's clear Zorro is an absolute monster, completely deserving of being on this list. Obviously though, his best feats come from the rooftop fight against Kaido and Big Mom, where we see him dealing significant damage to the natural disasters before him with his newly obtained Enma. Furthermore, he's obtained Conqueror's Haki, advancing it as well, meaning he's of the potential of being one of the gods of One Piece himself. I've talked extensively about Zorro in my analysis of his fight with King, so I'll keep this relatively short for now, but number 9 is absolutely deserved for this absolute monster of a character. Now, number 8 might be a bit of a controversial pick, as he could be much higher or lower, depending on the amount more we see of him, but number 8 goes to the first mate of the red-haired pirates, Beckmann. Now, I know what you're thinking, blah blah, I thought you said no featless characters, what if he has a Devil Fruit, blah blah, shut the fuck up, shut up, I'm including him anyway, and if you have a problem with that, make sure to leave a comment about it in the comments section. I'm super interested in seeing it. Now, there's not much to say about my boy Beckmann, as he clearly hasn't done much in the series yet. However, he is known as the most intelligent character from the East Blue, and he got right beside Kizaru seemingly without the Admiral, an observation Haki user, noticing. Besides his obvious role as the first mate of a Yonko, that's all there really is to say about Mr. Beckmann. I could make the argument that the red-haired pirates do seemingly reflect the Roger pirates of old, so you might be able to argue that Beckmann can be compared to a Prime Rayleigh, and if that's true, he should easily be way higher on the list. For now, until we learn more about him, I'm comfortable putting Beckmann at the number 8 spot. Now, number 7 may also be a bit of a controversial position, but it's the former daimyo of Kuri, Kozuki Odin. Now, I can say a plethora of positive things in regards to the strength of Odin, from his injuring of Kaido to being one of the few characters to have insane natural strength as a child, to his mastery of the difficult-to-control Enma. It's clear Odin deserves to be on a list like this. Now, some would argue that he should be even higher, as many would argue his injury to Kaido, as well as his clash with Whitebeard, would put him on the level of the Yonko. However, I personally wouldn't go that far. He's pretty easily slashed away by a character like Roger, and when distracted for even a second, was immediately one-shot by Kaido. Still, Odin is absolutely insane, especially when tanking being in boiling oil for over a fucking hour. It's absolutely crazy. He's one of the few characters that have strength respected by Kaido, although I wouldn't 100% use this list to facts of strength, as characters such as Rayleigh, Garp, Sengoku, and Big Mom didn't make the cut. Additionally, I won't include the anime-only scenes where he's clashing relatively equal to a character like Scott or Beckmann, as it is to my knowledge an anime-only scene. There isn't much more to be said about Odin, as it's clear he's absolutely crazy, and in my opinion, besides debatably the number 6 and number 8 spots, he trumps all Yonko commanders with ease. Decent ease, to be fair. Number 6 goes to a clear monster of the older generation, and that's the former vice captain of the Roger Pirates, Dark King Silver's Rayleigh. Now, Rayleigh's feats speak for themselves. In his prime, you can make an argument for him being a Yonko level character, but even in his old age, he was fighting against Kizaru at was clearly an equal level. He's known to be an absolute legend to most, and while it isn't a huge feat, Shaki explained that he'd be 100 times stronger than all of the 11 supernovas. Additionally, Garp himself told his men not to confront Rayleigh, nor should Sengoku be informed that he may be in Sabaody. Kizaru also exclaimed that if the Marines were to attempt to capture Rayleigh, they would need to do a serious preparation, which in my opinion would require the need of multiple admirals to do so. Furthermore, similar to Ben Beckmann, Rayleigh is one of the most intelligent characters on this list, so it wouldn't be surprising if he could make plans in defeating many of the characters on this list. While you could argue him being lower or higher, especially if we're talking about him in his prime, around the middle of the road should be fair for a character who is considered a legend by so many people. Alright, number 5 is easily one of the weirdest and most unexpected members on this list, but it's the legendary samurai of Wano, sword god Shimotsuki Ryuma. There isn't a huge amount to say about Ryuma, as we just don't know a lot about the character, but we do know during his time alive, he was considered the most powerful swordman in the world. No mean feat when considering the strength of the current most powerful swordman. Similar to Mihawk, Ryuma was able to create a black blade out of his sword Shusui, which again is a pretty insane feat considering that he and Mihawk are the only known characters to have done this. Considering that characters such as Roger, Shanks, Whitebeard, Rayleigh, Odin, Zorro, and Shiki all use swords, and having created black blades themselves, it's an absolute testament to Ryuma's skill with Haki and with the blade. That being said, once again there isn't much to say about the sword god, as most of his strength is from legends. However, he did beat a dragon in Oda's monster one-shot, which is pretty dang badass if I do say so myself. That's pretty much all I have to say about Ryuma, but I absolutely think he deserves to be on this list. And number 4 goes to a real favorite of mine, but it's the grandfather of Luffy and the hero of the Marines, Monkey D Garp. Now, I love Garp, and I don't think I need to argue why Garp is above everyone below him, as he's one of the legends of the older generation and a rival to the late Pirate King Goldie Roger. I've always looked at him as a Marine equivalent to Whitebeard during Marineford, clearly being one of the most powerful characters at the war. I mean, there's so many good things I could say about this character, from beating Don Chinchao in his prime, to defeating Shiki when teaming up with Sengoku, to what is easily his most crazy feat of defeating the Rock's pirates when teaming up with just Roger. Garp is just an absolute monster. I think in his prime, Garp could be considered a top 2 level character on this list, but seeing as he is semi-retired and in his old age, I feel more comfortable with Garp being in number 4 position. And number 3 goes to another one of my favorites, and that's the current Yonko and the captain of the red-haired pirates, Red-Haired Shanks. Shanks has a multitude of insane feats under his belt, from being a rival to the greatest swordsman, to stopping Kaido from breaching Marineford, to stopping the entire war with just his mere presence. Shanks is unquestionably one of the most powerful characters in all of One Piece. You could argue that his Conqueror's Haki is debatably unmatched, as I'm pretty sure he's the only character we see to be able to inflict harm to the structures around him with just his Haki. There's not much to say, as I think it's pretty obvious Shanks should be this high up, as I think his younger age gives him the edge on characters such as Garp and Rayleigh. I'll explain why he's below the number 1 and 2 spot when I get there, but for now, I am more than comfortable Shanks in the top 3. And number 2 is another one of my favorites I've recently changed my position on, as I now consider them above the likes of Shanks, but it's the strongest swordsman in the world, Hawkeye's Dracula Mihawk. There are a couple of reasons I have Mihawk above Shanks, as the two are stated rivals. Due to Shanks losing his arm, Mihawk does not want to spar with the Yonko anymore, and while I still think the two are in the same league, Mihawk having such confidence to practically say I don't consider you worthy as a rival anymore to fucking Shanks is absolutely crazy. Additionally, one obvious reason Mihawk is above Shanks is his title of strongest swordsman in the world. Considering Shanks is a swordsman as well, I'd rather not go through the mental gymnastics of explaining rank Shanks above him. Similar to Ryuma, Mihawk is also a creator of a black blade, this being an absolute testament to his skill with Haki and the blade. This, like I said prior, is something even Shanks and Roger haven't done. His black blade is also the most powerful sword in the world, Yoru, which I would argue is another reason for Mihawk's sustained strength. The one thing holding him back is his rather unimpressive showing in the war, but I'd argue it's pretty clear he wasn't taking the fight incredibly seriously, and if he was of similar personality to a character like Akainu, I'd argue that the Marines would have just fucking destroyed the Whitebeard pirates. All in all, there's just too many factors that seem to imply Mihawk is above Shanks for me to have the number 1 swordsman at a number 2 spot.
Yo, samurai!
Alright, hopefully number 1 is obvious at this point, but it's the Pirate King, the man, the myth, the legend, the absolute fucking legend, Gold D Roger. Honestly, what is there to say about Roger that hasn't already been said? He's an equal to Whitebeard, the strongest man in the world, and with Garp, took part in defeating the Rock's pirates. His legendary status trumps any character on this list easily, and in considering the fact that many people consider his first mate Rayleigh to have been Yonko level in his prime, Roger himself must be immensely powerful even in comparison to the Yonko. Yeah, but that's all I have to say about Roger. He's an obvious anticlimactic number 1 spot, a fitting position for the King of the Pirates. And that's it! This list is slightly different from my previous ones, as I'm not ranking characters by a faction, but by a power set, so I hope you enjoyed something a little different. Here's how I'd rank the characters by tiers. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button, and if you really like me, subscribe as well. Also follow me on my social media pages in the link below, and join the Discord as well. But with that, I will see you later.
その方便かますぜはったりなくて7くせちないことって勇敢なる戦士になる楽しいだけじゃダメ100ライン100ライン使うぜイカ様キャプテンそうする